2 weeks vacation, unpaid. Our boss was being tied, but we are back. The weekly Football Manager Show. I hope you're well. My name is Paul, if you're new. If you are new this week, welcome. We are normally here weekly, but we decided to have a 2-week vacation. Forced. That's right. But we're back. Well, two of us are. Good evening, Colin.
Good evening, Paul. How are you?
I'm good. You are sitting in your car again this evening.
Yeah, well, I'm running around the area. My wife is getting her bicycle all fit and set up for herself so that we can start exercising more as the weather improves. So I am graciously sitting outside the bike shop in my humble little vehicle in chatting with you.
Humble little vehicle. I think it sounds far too energetic, and also riding a bicycle would take away time from Football Manager, so I will have to say you're doing the wrong thing today.
Well,
so there you go. You didn't plan that, did you?
No, I like riding the bike. It provides me clarity and time to think.
Oh, nice reply. It gives you time to evaluate tactical plans going forward.
Exactly.
See? Nice thinking. That is the plan. Good thinking. So, we've had 2 weeks off. We've had time to recharge the streaming, recharge the Football Manager batteries. Have we done much recharging? I think the question is, how's your saves going, sir?
So not bad. I think so we'll start with Truro City. Little disappointed in season 9. We didn't really make any progress over our first season in League One, so we finished with the same number of points at 61. We turned some losses into draws, and unfortunately we turned some wins into draws and just didn't get anywhere. So I sold some guys in the summer. I think the season 10 preview came out today. We've moved some guys on. We've made some money. We've tried to kind of get the financial house in order. And we're kind of going back to basics to make a push. I think this is the year we're going to make a push to get into the championship. So we've gone back to basics to try and get there. We moved back into our reopened stadium late last year. So now people will know where to find us, and hopefully we'll keep going.
I think we've got to mention that tonight's episode that went live was episode 100 for yourself, so...
That it was. It doesn't feel like it's been that long.
I think it's a superb achievement. I hope you're proud of yourself.
Very much so. It's pretty wild. Now, hopefully we don't get to 200. I'd like to win a Champions League before then, but we'll have to...
I think... I know we were discussing, obviously, you've been creative with this save. This is your first long-term series on the channel, so obviously you've been looking at different ways to see what people want to see. And you've kind of scaled it back again now. You've still got a highlights package, but it's not of the extent it was, and it's making it easy for yourself because people understand that it takes time to put stuff together. So do you feel the new format is going to help you get more consistent in terms of episode release? Because obviously you've been really busy with work, which has priority, so you can't obviously be throwing out episodes which take so much detail, which you were doing before. So you've still got the detail, but you've obviously cut back in terms of how you're recording it. Are you finding it easier now?
Yeah, it's definitely a little more straightforward to do. So I find that I can actually get in, and with a few hours on on Saturday and Sunday night, I can kind of get everything recorded, put together, and kind of pushed out and uploaded for the week. So it's a lot more time efficient for me. Which is good because then it's less of an effort to kind of, get in, play the game, get all the stuff that you need to together and kind of run it all out. At some point, it was starting to feel a little like a job. It took so much time to kind of get everything put together. But, I like playing around with it. I want to make sure people can see and understand and, kind of hopefully learn or get something out of it. So I think we still have that. I'm still trying to, look at the highlights, kind of understand where goals and problems are coming from. And then, we kind of go through and do, live comms now again in the episode so people can kind of see how I'm doing adjustments and things like that. And I think it's a better balance. So we'll go with it for a while and see how it goes.
Fantastic. Well, we'll jump over to myself before we talk about another project you're working on, which has also dragged me into now. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I've done so well in this FM to kind of stick to one thing. Then you've just come along and basically placed a golf ball next to me and went, "Go on, hit it." So basically, since the last recording, I won promotion to the championship. Yep, so proud. And then tonight I got relegated. So yes, but it's been busy since the last weekly show. Yeah, unfortunately I won promotion. And as we know, lots of the players have been with me. Most of them since the Conference Stroke League 2. And some of them since the Conference North, Bram Ellison, James Reed and Lee Simpson. And unfortunately, some people didn't step up the way I wanted. Some of it was tactical issues. In terms of conceding goals, we weren't too bad. We definitely conceded more than we normally would in a season, but that is maybe mainly due to the fact that 2 defenders I signed were just utterly crap. But I'm trying not to just say, oh, well, that guy cost me. A couple of players definitely cost me, but they cost me. Did they cost me because of my tactical decision? Were they too high up? Were they too deep? Were they getting asked to do too much? Because we finished, bear in mind we got relegated, we finished as the second highest team in terms of possession and in terms of passes created and completed. And in a team where our wage budget for the year, Colin, was 3 million, which is quite massive for FC United Manchester. We've gone up to be spending quite a bit. I think we doubled that from the first season in League One, and the top teams in the league, their budgets were 75 million, I think it was. And the team who finished one place above me in the league had a budget of 14 million, and we were spending 3. And we were by far the lowest spenders in the league. I think by double, if not by even more. So relegation was pretty much already decided by the media, etc., and by our board. Our board basically went, "Yeah, we're going down. Just do what you can." But we put a good fight up, really did. Tomorrow's a review episode where I do go into a lot of detail. And yeah, going back down to League One, it's going to be tough, stroke interesting, mainly because this is going to be season 14, and I am completely going to revamp tactically. So the 5-5, I'm planning to totally get rid of it for this season and just try to expand the team and see what we can do creatively with the tactic. But it could backfire. We could end up going back to 5-5, but hopefully not. But you've been busy. You surprised me, Colin. I went to bed one night. You said good night. You didn't give me any little clues or anything. As far as I'm concerned, you were just relaxing. And I wake up to a new post on the website.
Well, sometimes it's important to just break things out every so often. So I felt like I had been neglecting at least a little bit of writing for a while. And now that I got a better groove with recording for Truro and things are kind of opening back up again for me at work, I decided I was going to take an offline save and try and do something very, very different. So Sunday, I guess it was Sunday when the Scottish League Cup final was going on. I was chatting with a whole bunch of people. We were talking about Ross County and the state of Scottish football and what should be done, or what should the Scottish FA do to try and improve the game in Scotland, to bring it back to kind of a higher level and kind of accelerate the game to a better place, so that it's not just Celtic, and the only thing anybody ever knows about Scottish football is Celtic and Rangers, and really kind of get the game boosted. So what I thought I'd do is not just get into a club level save, but really almost nation building and league building. So I will fully admit that Mr. Second Yellow Card's new save idea started, completely kicked it off in my head, except as I was thinking about it, I think he's got some very specific goals, and we can talk a little bit later, with his new series. I wanted to ease up a little bit on the league level goal. I think, going to be the number 1 league in Europe is a huge, huge task and a huge ask. So right now, Scotland is 23rd in the European League rankings in FM when you start. So my goal is to get it into the top 10. That'll put it in the likes of, the Belgian the Belgian league, the Eredivisie, the Ukrainian league, Russia. So it's not chump leagues. It's teams that are it's leagues that are putting multiple solid teams into Europa and Champions League competition. They're difficult places to play. It produces some competitive, good football. So the idea is we're going to try and get the league as a whole into the top 10. Now, the other thing that I want to do is I want some parity in the league. I'm tired of watching one team win the Scottish Premier League every season. So what we want to do is rather than make Celtic weaker or make Rangers weaker, I want to elevate the whole league. So the goal is, and I think when I put it down on the site, it's 10 years of non-consecutive winners. So different teams winning for a long period of time. And I want parity in the league.
I'll read the three rules before you carry on. So improve the competitiveness of the Scottish Premiership by having non-consecutive winners for at least 10 years in a row. Rule 2 is elevate the Scottish Premiership ranking into the top 10 European leagues and maintain it for at least 5 consecutive seasons. Rule 3 is elevate the Scottish national team to 4 consecutive quarter-final appearances or better in major international tournaments. Sounds like bloody England. Get to the quarter-finals and crash. Now, before you continue, Colin, your non-consecutive winners for 10 years in a row, what happens if Ross County Board turn around and say you have to win the league and they decide to sack you if you come second?
So I think that's a possibility for it. So I think the worst that happens is I look for somewhere else in Scotland and keep going with the same sort of...
Oh, I like the idea. So basically you stick around and just keep implementing your same plan. So let's say you go to a mid-table side then. Your then plan there is to kind of improve their youth facilities and keep distributing their players around, and as well as improving that club as well.
Right.
I like that idea. I like that. That's like my St Mirren save. I took them up. Then I went on to Celtic, and St Mirren continued to be decent in Europe. But I think they could have done better if I'd kind of implemented some of these ideas of helping them instead of just stealing all their players, which I kind of did.
Yeah, it's an interesting piece in that so I'm almost through the first season, so probably either tonight or tomorrow will be the write-up at the end of season 1. So I've got a ton of stuff that I've learned so far. One, it's very difficult to act as sort of the super agent for an entire league. So and the
super agent, I love it.
Basically, that's what it is. But I think the thing they're really focusing on is, it's all about improving the average, not imposing superstars into the league. So then the question is, how do you do that? And I've been jotting notes down for the last few days. There's 9 or 10 sort of reasonably good-sized awakenings I've had while I'm doing this to try and figure out, you got to set yourself some budget. You have to be better in control of finances, and you have to really have a plan. So I've set some decent plans. It's going to take a while to figure out if they're working, but at least for the short term, I found a lot of guys in the free transfer space that have good potential. So I've been aiming at that sort of 3 to 4 star potential, but mostly, solid 3 stars, and then, the little black 4th star in a lot of places. Getting them in and then getting them loaned out pretty quickly. So I've been populating sort of League 1, League 2 quite a bit with a lot of players. I think I have 8. I think there's 8 right now that are on loan from the club to Scottish teams in there. And then I have my under 20s, as I've been kind of going and selecting players who I want in my under 20 squad to start developing, because we have really great facilities. So to start kind of doing that. And then I went out and said, okay, let me see if I can get some flashier youngsters. I'm not looking, obviously the club is not in a position where I'm going to go sign, Martin Odegaards of the world. but go in and look at clubs and see if I can find, 18, 17, 19-year-olds that have, really high potential that I can pick up for, 50, 75, K type areas, which is big money for the club. But it's a higher potential player, and then kind of insert them into my system. And I've got a couple of those guys too. So I partitioned my budgets. I've got some focus, and we'll see how it starts to work out.
I think it's I find it so interesting as well there when you were talking about the loan situation, the fact you're bringing players in, loan them straight back out. You're going to end up with a fairly large squad on paper, but as you said, you're bringing in players who are decent and have some sort of potential, but you've got really good facilities, so it makes sense to bring them players in, get them a bit of training, loan them out to other teams, or have them in your youth team, get them to develop a little bit, so they might develop in your under-20s better than they would in the first team in a League One team, for example. Right. So they spend a year there in really good training facilities, then you sell them on to another club who then has a really good player who they've got a few for cheap. I think it's fascinating to see how it's going to develop within a couple of years, to see what kind of youngsters you've brought through and managed to move on, what kind of sales you've made. Have you had an offer from another club for a player, but that club wasn't in Scotland, so you end up selling him for 100,000 less to a club in Scotland, for example, because you could improve the league. I think I'm intrigued by it, enough to the extent where you've got me thinking about something I want to do. So you've kind of said you've lit the torch paper in terms of trying to get me writing as well.
Oh, excellent.
It keeps us busy, doesn't it?
Oh, very much so.
But we're going to move on. If I can find where I accidentally put the topics list. Always nice. Good job, mate. Streaming plans, which is something which we've been getting into a bit more. We've these 2 weeks came out of nowhere, which didn't really help in the big overall planning of streaming. But we're getting back into it. I will be streaming tomorrow, for example. I streamed last night or the night before. It was a couple of nights ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Had a really good stream. Had 4 hours. You came along for it, and people seem to enjoy it. Yep. Daytime streaming tomorrow. It's going to be at least 2 hours, maybe 3 for myself. I'm up to next Wednesday. I'm going to be available a few nights to do some more nighttime streaming. So as we say, it's twitch.tv/footballmanagercentral. Colin, you're going to be streaming a bit on an evening again, hopefully soon.
Yep, I have to see. I'm definitely going to be streaming over the weekend, probably Sunday night. We'll probably bring back the Mexican save and keep going with them. If not, or I may do some streaming of the Ross County if people are interested in seeing how I'm doing things with that and kind of progressing along on that one. So I'll still obviously be writing it up primarily, but I may stream, just while I'm playing the games and transfer windows and stuff like that, so people kind of interactive, get a little interactive with it. But definitely Sunday. Not 100% sure about tomorrow night. Saturday night I will be at Red Bull Arena for the game with the Houston Dynamo. So I don't think Saturday is a streaming option. And then definitely during the week, my schedule is opening up, so I'll be streaming during the week next week on a few evenings for sure.
Fandabidosi. I think from next Wednesday, there's going to be another week or two where I'm not going to be able to stream too much. But hopefully, in the long term, there's going to be a lot more streaming coming. But just for the short period, there's going to be these odd situations where I can't stream for a few days or maybe a week if I'm working extra and stuff. So hope you all understand. But we do have lives. So unfortunately, we've got lives, so we can't just sit and play FM all day. Unless my missus and kids are listening, then I love spending time with everybody. And I don't think about Football Manager all day at work. But content in the community. There's been some stuff we wanted to talk about, which has been interesting us. There's a certain thing by a good friend of ours at FM_Samoa. Samo. Oh my god, he's gonna go crazy about that. I said his name wrong again. We should edit this bit out. No, we'll leave it in. It'll be more funny.
It would be.
Let's just keep calling him FM some more. So people will know him if you check out his occasionalfm.wordpress.com. You will know him as Chris Sampson, as his name comes up at the top, as the author of the posts. He has released a new series, Colin, called the Versus series.
Yeah, this is a really, really fascinating concept. So, effectively, the idea is, if you write, you do YouTube videos, you stream on Twitch, or you just, you want to get into any of it. So the idea is you basically throw down a challenge to another player, and, you go through, you play, you talk about it. Whatever, whatever you want to talk about out of it, your analysis, situation, how you approach the game, what you thought, adjustments that you made, style comparisons, all kinds of things. And then you tag it with the Versus series, and then, people can kind of see all of the various different ones. So I believe the first one was Chris versus Ed from the Deep Lying podcast. And really,
second best Football Manager podcast out there.
Oh, absolutely. Distant second, though.
Distant second, yeah. Unless they're listening, close second.
Nah, this is like PSG to whoever's second.
To whoever's second, we don't know. Yeah, somebody.
But no, so it was very interesting to see them talk about, approach and just how to get ready for it, and team selection, and just game situations. I thought it's a really neat read. It's not super long, but it's a fun read, and it's neat because everybody can kind of get in. And if you go into the Facebook group or even on Twitter, you'll see people are challenging kind of all over the place. So I think it's a really cool idea. It's a great way to get good community involvement and to have a little bit of fun at the same time.
And if you don't have a Facebook blog or YouTube channel and you want to do the Versus series and you want to do it against somebody who does have a blog or whatever, and you're unsure where to write it, occasionalfm.wordpress.com, he has a guest section. So if you drop him a tweet at FM_Samo, SAMO, the link to his website will be in the description, so just scroll down. I'm sure he will guest host the pieces because it's fantastic to see the community getting involved and wanting to versus each other. It's I'm looking forward to it. I've had a couple of people challenge me already, so as soon as I get some free time, I'm going to batter them and then write up about it. And if I lose, he'll just accidentally get lost as I'm editing. So bear in mind, it will be 100% record. Hashtag awesome. So you have to check that out. Also, if you go over to the Deep Line Podcast website, which if I'm right, is deeplionpodder.co.uk. I might be incorrect there. It's deeplinepodcast.co.uk. I was so close, Colin.
Hey, sometimes. Every once in a while.
I mean, if they were the best podcast, I'd have remembered it, but being second best, I just struggled a little bit.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's like a tester. If they listen, they'll know. They'll comment about this part. If they didn't listen, we know they don't listen. It's like the test. Are they listening? Is Ed or is George listening to this podcast? And if not, I'm going to stop listening to yours. Right, so that's a joke. And by the way, we do all know each other before people think we just randomly bitching about the Deep Line podcast.
They are great guys. They do great stuff.
Indeed, really good listener. I love listening to it each week. And they are, as I said, Ed has wrote about that game on the website deeplinepodcast.co.uk, and it's really, really interesting to read about. So check that out. But the next post, we're going to flip over to. He's an author. He lives in sunny Spain. He avoided a house fire recently, which I didn't even know about. He kept that quiet. I was reading this post, just going, "What? He had what?" But this post will be in the description as well. It is by the Higher Tempo Press, who we bring up quite often on this on the podcast. He's got a new series out, just started, so get them from the start so you don't miss anything. It's called Going Loco go in Zacapulco. Hashtag. And I think for the title alone, you've got to check it out. We won't tell you what nation it's in. We'll tell you there's a picture of a breakfast cereal bowl on the post. There is a sunset. Stroke sunrise. I don't know. We don't have that. Normally when the sun's coming up in our village, it's normally covered by the pissing down rain. Moving down. Anything else to give it away? There's a picture of an old man with Mexico Road on his top. There you go. So check it out. Make sure you read it. Again, the High Tempo Press, bringing you top quality reading. And yeah, drop him a follow, drop him a like. At Come on the Oviedo on Twitter. Or at the High Tempo Press as well. They have their own Twitter account. So make sure you check them out. But I think the question is, Colin, what other content have you been watching? Because me and you were discussing a certain YouTuber the other day, live on our stream. We were discussing his ability to pronounce words.
Yeah, we had a lengthy discussion about word porn. For those who...
By the way, that's right. Colin did just say word porn.
Absolutely. So for those who want to have a little sweet, silky sounds to their ears, as well as some great FM content, check out at the Dare FM on YouTube, at Dare FM Manager on Twitter. He's got some really, really great stuff going on his channel. Specifically, it was the Austria Vienna save that he has. So just listening to him pronounce all of the German names with his sweet, silky words.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
It is. It's but beyond just sweet German pronunciation, the content is really great. The analysis, the discussion, the focus, the understanding of the teams, the style, the ability to break down the style and have conversations and sort of discuss it and break it down and how, and how he implements it. And then, as he's running up against teams all over the place. So really, really top-notch stuff. I enjoy it quite a bit.
As you say, I mean, it's actually a series which has hooked me in terms of I'm checking it daily to see if there's a new episode out, which is super. It's what you want. You want to be doing that. And I think it's fantastic. The only thing is, I have realised I pronounce many, many things wrong. So I now feel like I've been messing up. Like
just realised that now.
Yeah, like when he goes Austria, Salzburg, and where he says it a lot better. It doesn't sound as much like he's trying to kill somebody. Yeah. I'm not the best at my accents. But I love the fact that he will just be talking along with his American accent. He's all dressed in purple because Austria Vienna is purple. Although he claims that wasn't planned. Colour coding, checking the wardrobe before recording. He just talks along in an American accent. As soon as he gets to anything with any sort of German pronunciation, boom, he's on it. It's superb. Like we said, word porn. But fantastic series, definitely worth checking out. If anything, just so you can learn how to pronounce the team's names correctly. So yeah, definitely worth checking out. But I'm trying to think what else has come in the community, Colin, in these last 2 weeks, which has been stuff which has gripped us. Now I know coming up, not so much has happened in the last 2 weeks, but coming up in the next few days, we have Mr. Second Yellow Card back with the inspirational series. I would say at no point is Matt Stroke Second Yellow Card claiming ownership of the idea. I mean, it's something that people have done in the past. I know in the past I've tried to build a nation up by improving teams and stuff. And people have done it on Neoseeker for years. So no point before people listen and go, oh, well, he stole that idea. It's just an idea he's now decided he's going to do, and he brought it to people's attention, who then, as Colin said, you can then go, do you know what, that's a really interesting idea to try. And I think if you can do that in the community, you can start something, start a save, start a journey, and then other people feel inspired to then want to do a similar style of journey. I think it's a superb situation because it's only going to get more people playing and enjoying Football Manager, Colin.
Oh, absolutely. I'm looking forward to this new series. I had to send him a tweet the other day when I think it was episode 128, the final episode of Rebuilding
Oh
Wimbledon.
yeah, we should actually mention that, seeing as it's done and it was done since the last episode.
Yeah, I said that, I had to let him know. It was great that he managed to achieve it, but there's a little sadness inside that it's gone.
I think it's been one of them series which just grips you. Superb all the way through from episode 1 to episode 28. It's been a fantastic series. One of them series where you don't know what's going to happen. You're on the edge of your seat. And just congratulations to him for completing the task he set himself at the start, which is superb. And now, if he can achieve the task he set himself on this journey, I think it's going to surpass the Wimbledon one, just because it's going to be so interesting. And I'm just curious to know how detailed the episodes are going to be, because there's going to be so much we're going to want to hear from it. And I mean, personally, as I'm talking about, I'm thinking of, I want to be able to see this and I want to be able to see that, and are we going to see who other teams have bought and where they're getting them from, and there's a lot to think about. So it's definitely going to be an exciting end of FM16, hopefully, because I assume it's going to go on for quite a while.
I would imagine. I think sounds like the kind of series that is definitely going to be a much longer project than either Portsmouth or Wimbledon or Red Star were.
Definitely. Also starting this week, Statistical Approach is back. His new series after his vacation away since around Christmas time. So no one's guessed the team yet, I don't think. So keep guessing who he's going to be managing. That is starting in the next few days. So make sure you check out his channel to get obviously updates and make sure you are there for episode 1. So there's a couple of YouTubers starting brand new series, as Colin, at the same time, which is going to be interesting for people looking for new content.
Yeah, I think this is a good time. This is sort of the time of year where stuff is turning over. The new updates out. New stuff is starting, so hopefully people enjoy what they see.
Well, don't worry, guys. I'm still here with FC United Manchester, relegated, back in League One, but I'm still here. So do not fear. But as you said, Colin, the new update's out. They still haven't fixed the back post stuff. Now, as we know, I won't sit here and blame Football Manager for me losing games, but to an extent I will, because this back post crossing is starting to get on my tits. Not just one of them, on both of them now. It drives me to the point of screaming when they play a ball to the back post and you're just watching your defender and you know it's going to go over him, and their striker's already got his leg up ready just to tap it in. Honest to God, you just feel like playing a bit of Happy Gilmore as it goes in the back of the net, because you know he's just going to tap it in. And it's not being fixed, and it is a major, major flaw. And I don't care what people say about, well, exploit it yourself or counter it, make sure they can't do it. It's impossible to stop at times. You'll get 4 or 5 games in a row where just back post crosses just appear randomly 3 or 4 times and they strain. It's always going to be a goal. You can literally say goal as it leaves the winger's foot and you know it's going to go in. But apart from that rant, Colin, how's the update been for you?
It's been interesting. I guess
You can rant if you want, because I've actually thought something else I'm going to rant about.
I don't know. I don't consider myself an exploitation tactic guy. I try and play more, build more sort of solid, sustainable, real world, legit tactical approaches. But I've really gotten lost and scratched my head on a few of it, that what I thought was solid, logical systems sort of fell apart, especially at Truro last year towards the end of the season, which I did the rest of the pretty much the second half of the season after the update went through. Really scratching my head. I stripping everything down at the very end of the season. We went back to a no instruction, dead simple 4-4-2 to try and put things together to finally sort of stop the bleeding, because we went on an absolute free fall that I've been trying to understand, and I don't. I haven't been able to figure it out, which is bothering me to sort of no end.
Can
So
I rant again?
the floor is yours, my friend.
So, last year I applied to be a researcher for Norway for my local region. And I got told to email on the FM Norge website. So I did it. I went on, found the section I needed, and they said, "Well, we'll be in touch. We'll drop you an email." Okay. So I waited a few months, got no email. So I then went back on and posted. And they said, "Oh, has he not been in touch? I'll sort it out." So I waited another few months, still nothing. And I've been in touch again and just got ignored this time. So they've at no point put any effort in to actually find anything about me. So they've not turned me down because of lack of knowledge. They don't know I run FM Central. I applied as just my personal name, which I assume they won't know. So really disappointed in that situation. Then the reason it's come out now and it's bugging me now is because the update for the Norwegian leagues is crap. There are players who have signed for top division clubs who are missing. There's many signings in the second and third tiers, which active leagues which are missing. And obviously don't get started on leagues below that because they've not been touched. Pretty much. I think it's just a very lackluster attempt by the scouting teams over here in terms of giving them all the information of who's gone where, who's gone to whatever. Now I know there's the game's based in England. There's going to be areas of the world which attract more than others sales wise. But surely the idea is to make the game as good as they can, Colin. And I just think the effort that's been put into making sure all transfers are done correctly, etc., is just so disappointing that they've missed so many very clear and very obvious transfers.
Winning.
I mean, we were talking before we went live about Brann, who have a US supporters clubs, and they're a fairly large club in Norway, one of the biggest in terms of history. They made 4 signings over the winter, and only 2 of them have been done.
Wow.
So it's like when you're missing the big clubs, what chance have the little clubs got? And when there's people actively trying to help the game for free, there's people who have knowledge enough to go and do this. I can go and do this job and do it to a good ability, I would think. So it's frustrating that just get completely ignored. And the people who are doing it are clearly piss poor. And if they're listening, please get in touch because you are absolutely crap. And I would like to take your job. It's just dreadful. It's seriously they need to kick up the arse. Sports Interactive need to kick up the arse to go and actually speak to the researchers and say, look, what are you doing? Because if they're not bothered, then the researchers aren't going to be bothered. They're just going to give them piss poor results because they know it's not going to be checked.
Right.
So I think all round it needs to improve because if they're messing up this many with Norway, imagine what they're doing with some of even the smaller nations.
Yeah. Oh, I think it's one of those that thank God for the whiz kids.
Yeah, exactly. The likes of the whiz kids who go through and get all the transfers they can from these sites. I mean, it's frustrating more than anything. It's just frustrating situation to be in. But hopefully it improves and hopefully they take on board requests and stuff from people and actually start to get this done properly because it can't go on how it is with missing just simple stuff when there's people out there trying to help. But yeah, rant done. End of the show, Colin. Great way to end. Always nice to end with a rant.
Well, no problem. I think we're going to have a couple of ranty episodes between this and Beyond the Touchline coming up. So.
Oh, I think it's going to be Beyond the Touchline is going to be a brilliant rant. I've got a feeling. But I want to thank people for listening. Again, we apologise for missing the last few weeks. But we're back. We're on fire. Well, I hope you're not on fire, Colin, but I hope you're raring to go.
Oh, I am, dare I say, en fuego.
I have no idea what that means. So,
Yeah.
brilliant. We'll move on. I'll play some beautiful music for you, and then we'll see you next week, guys. From myself, Paul, and from Colin.